Stratman here from pipware.com, carrying on with strategy training. At some stage you'll get to the point where you want to have your chart less cluttered and see mainly candles. Sometimes moving averages and fibs and all those other things can end up being quite a distraction. And if we just look at pure price action and get into some of these trades, that really is the ultimate goal, is to be able to just visualize the candles and determine what's going on. Now, at the moment, I'm still kind of a bit bound by the fractal arrows on each time frame. I really need to see this. Once I see that line up, I know the direction I want to trade. Then I'm looking to some of the other aspects here. I'm making sure that news isn't going to be a factor for me in this trade. I'm also looking at moves as well. If I see extended moves on the fractals, I'm going to be a bit cautious, because on the M15 time frame, if there's been no news and the distance, or the last swing, or the current swing or distance to a fractal is 60 pips, I know that the probability of it going any further than that is very small. So I'll be looking to this. These are my SMA 60 moving averages. If we're heading towards one of those moving averages, I'm probably interested in distance to it. So this is the longer time frame one, so that would be the 240. This would be the 20, so the M5 SMA 60, and depending on what time frame I'm on, you'll set your data to whatever you like. But this really is essentially the information that I use. It's the essential information. I'm then looking at each session to see how many pips typically get done in those sessions. What's the likelihood of me getting a nice move during the session? Well, I mean, right at the moment, leading up to what I'm calling Tokyo Hong Kong session, look, I'm not going to see much out of this. 30 pips, 50 pips maybe. I'm already at 34, so if I'm trading to increase that range, what's my probability of it getting beyond what the norm is? So what I'm trying to point out here is that we need to look to all our information on the dashboard to determine probability. After all, this thing of Forex trading is all about having the edge, and the edge is always entering the highest probability setups. So we use all this information together. For me, I kind of have removed my moving averages from the chart here. I'm interested in when the day starts, when the Hong Kong midday is. I want to see that, and I use those as very serious support and resistance lines for the rest of the session. You can see here clearly that at this point this was very good support and resistance, and then further on up here it happened again. So I always use these lines projected through, so I'll keep those. I may add some daily, monthly pivots and so on, but sometimes they become a bit of a distraction, and we think of them as kind of like, as soon as price hits those places, we're going to get out and so on, and we might miss a bigger move. So I'm starting to look at trading more by looking at the candles themselves for a start. Until you get used to that, you will need to use moving averages on there. You will need to have your daily levels, like the previous day high and low and pivot, previous week high and low and the pivot point, the monthly, so on. They're all very valuable tools, but in the end, what we're trading is price action. Regardless of all those levels, the fibs and everything you draw, big round numbers, so on, they're all interesting points, and that's all I think they are. They're points of interest. When price gets to those places, it could be time to call it quits on a trade, maybe not, but the ultimate would be to ride trends as far as you can through those points and get the most out of a trade. And the only way I can really see that happening is by by using fractals themselves to determine which way the trend is, getting in the trend until you see the trend change direction. Ultimately, that's where we want to be with all of this. So in some cases, like here, if you were a longer term trader, you could have traded this all the way up to here and made money, rather than trying to get these little wee tiny ones that are in between. So that's kind of where I'm trying to head, and I guess as my equity builds, I'll head more and more in that direction, trying to get the longer term trades. For now, 24 pips a day is fine for me, and that's great. So let's just have a look and see whether we can see some setups here just based totally on price action. The most important things for me is to know the previous H4 candle low and high. Very important to me. Previous 1 hour low and high, and also my Asian session high and low, which I classify as the 5 p.m. New York through to midday Hong Kong. And that's really it for the basics of my chart setup. And then I'm using the fractals to determine the direction of trend, which way I'm going to enter, and then using my oscillators to determine how to enter on a pullback on that direction. That's it, just so simple, and hopefully you guys can do the same and make a profit out of this game.